And we are back. We are live. Welcome to another episode of Kingdom Kast. This show host, formerly known as Bad Luck Chuck, my guy DG on the right from Tell the Truth. We're here for the post game. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share our social media platforms. You watch us on Twitter. Please hit the retweeted like button to share to everybody that you know. Oh, this your typical Chiefs Bills regular season result. There's really no surprise over here. The Bills went on ahead and handled business at the crib, 28-21. Patrick Mahomes did not have his best game. He had one of his worst games that we've seen probably in his NFL career. Josh Allen, on the other hand, he played efficient football, but, he 23 26, 273 in the touchdown. But what really helped Josh Allen perform like that today is the fact they ran the football. James Cook had himself a hell of a game. 27 carries, 114 yards. He got involved in the pass game once. But before we get to the other stats and all that or whatever, just go over and talk to my guy DG for a sec. DG, are you really surprised by anything today? How do you feel about the loss?
Not shocked. Listen, man, there's a reason why this league is so tough. You're going against some of the best players in the world week in and week out. And we obviously know, and this is why I have so much respect for Josh Allen, because it's like I always say, he's to me, in my opinion, I like Lamar, I like the rest of those guys that you want to put in the top 5 or whatever. Josh is the only quarterback to me that can go play for play with Mahomes in any scenario. And sometimes he outlasts you. Sometimes he gets the best of you. And I think they've done a good job of that in the regular season, of being able to outlast us and things of that nature. This game didn't shock me at all or whatever. I just think that we just did some uncharacteristic things that we can really clean up at this point in time. But you got to give – I would caution the fan base that you have to give them those opportunities to clean those things up. A lot of people are going to come in here and the woe is me and the sky is falling and it's over and yada, yada, yada. And y'all are going to be sitting right here in January talking about, I knew the whole time. I had faith the whole time. Like, bro, don't if you're doing that now, don't switch up, please. Like KT, if not even a playoff team, keep that same energy towards the end of the year, please. I want that same energy towards the end of the year, because I already know it's gonna switch up.
No, this is crazy to me, man. And I saw DJ Scratch comments about the running back. Dog,
you can say that.
It's not the running back, bro. Like, Kareem Hunt had 4.5 yards a carry, 11 carries, 49 yards. The problem is we gave up on the run too doggone early in the game when we was behind. Like, we was still in the game, dog. Like, Kareem was running effective. It was working. We just didn't run the football. And this is not surprising with an Andy Reid coach team. Like, he'll have these type of games where we forget to run the doggone football and we want to throw it all over the field, even when it's not working.
I can't do this, bro. Just a week ago, y'all hated Pop, bro. Like, now all of a sudden come on, what are we doing? Like, this.
We did not diss Pop, bro.
This is insane, bro.
Yeah.
Listen, this coaching staff, I think, has to understand that when you do play these games, especially against Buffalo, things need to be simple at points in times. I do agree with Chuck's point. Getting away from the run game, especially once you got down, was a little bit out of character for me. I would have liked to see them try to stick to it a little bit more, because, frankly, Buffalo wasn't stopping it at any point in time. Like, Kareem was getting whatever he wanted to get at that point. So maybe you went away from it a little bit, and I think that also you can't start going to long developing routes when you start losing guys on the offensive line. Once Wanye Morris and those guys come in or whatever, you gotta simplify things and kind of shrink things down because obviously they're not who you actually game planned with or whatever. But I will say this: like the bye week is coming up. I think this is a good time for them to have the bye week, especially before the trade deadline. I think this gives them a great opportunity to assess where they're at or whatever and make the necessary moves that they need to make. They still got everything in front of them, bro. Like everything is clearly in front of them. Now, yes, you don't have much margin for error at this point. Um, but we've seen this team go 11-6 before and still get to the Super Bowl. You know, I don't care. And like I know people want the 1 seed. I know people want to win the division. I understand all that. I think this team is the type of team just get in the playoffs, and see what happens. That you can't do anything if you don't get into the tournament. You know, so get in the tournament and see where it goes. It goes from there. If you have to go on the road, you have to go on the road and do it. You know, you've done it before, so I don't understand the lack of confidence now versus years ago where you were kind of in the same spot in 2023. Like you were literally in the same position with probably a worse team. You know, especially offensively, or especially from a receiving aspect. You led the league in drops. You weren't very good at certain things with that team, and you found a way to bust up your mistakes and get back and go through Buffalo and Baltimore to get to the ball. So what's different now? You know?
Nothing. Like we been here before. And like, just to start off, man, like the Bills, it's simple as this, man. They were the more physical team up front on both sides of the football. When they got the ball first, they clearly sent the message like, look, the Chiefs, y'all not physical like how we're physical. Y'all not built like that. We're gonna run it down your throat, and then we're gonna hit you with them tight ends. And let me tell you something, man. Drew Tranquil, man, I think this need to be a last year, dog. Like it's bad, bro. Like
Yeah.
you can't cover a soul out there. I mean, that was clearly apparent today. And I'm just like, dog, are we gonna use the young bull? Are we gonna get Basso a shot? Are we gonna make adjustments, put Jaden Hicks in the box more against these
Mhm.
tight ends?
Yeah.
It was bad, bro. It was
Yeah.
disgusting.
Yeah, I don't understand. Spags is a loyal guy, and wants to stick to his guys and have them try to excel at this system. I do think you got to get to a point where you start realizing that certain guys just can't do things because they're not athletic enough to do them anymore. And Drew Tranquil, I think, is in that category. Do I think he should take him off the field completely? No. But there are points in times where I do think, like I've been saying, Jaden Hicks has to play more at this point. You got to at least give him a shot and see if it can get any better for you, especially recovering tight ends if you put him out there on the field. Um, so I'm not sure where Spags' head is on that, wherever, and that's something I hope that they assess at the bye week or whatever. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think that's ultimately the answer to being able to slow down some of these tight ends and things of that nature is that putting Hicks on the field, playing him as that third safety kind of star position, I think will help out a lot more, especially with pass coverage today. I think from a defensive line perspective today, I I don't think the defensive line played terrible. I'm not gonna sit here and say they were great or anything like that, but I thought they were effective enough to where Josh really didn't kill you with his legs. You know,
He didn't
I
really
just
need to because James Cook was getting positive yards on like almost every touch.
yes, and I think that that's something you're going to have to shore up as well too. But that's the first game the Chiefs have given up 100-yard rusher in 2 years, bro. Look, I would just say it.
Yep.
Sometimes it's just bound to happen.
Lamar Jackson, a quarterback.
Yeah, like it's just
Lamar
bound to
Jackson, a
happen.
quarterback's the last one to do it.
You know, like you
Yeah.
you can't continue to think you're gonna go on this streak of stopping a running back from going over 100 yards for the next decade or something like that. It was never gonna happen, man. You know, and honestly, I'd rather it be to one of the better ones in this league. James Cook is the top 5 back. You know,
Yeah,
like, no
this
matter
season
how
for
you want to
sure.
slice it. You know, so I don't necessarily think he killed us either, but you got to do a better job of establishing your run fits and playing better up front. You know, and like you said, Buffalo was just tonight. They were just a more physical team, so all credit to them.
Yeah, man. Because like at the end of the day, man, defensive line. I mean, you said it weren't great, but we had a difficult time getting our blocks, man.
Yeah,
We had a pretty difficult time getting our blocks. I mean, most of the plays that I seen the Bills run, they was dog. I seen Chris Jones get moved easily, bro, and that was concerning for me right there, especially at the end of the game. And my boy Man Myth. Shout out to our boy Man Myth, man. He been critical of Chris Jones in this aspect. Like the pad level at times can get out of hand, can get out
it
of
was bad.
place,
It was
and we
bad.
saw that today.
Yeah, yeah, it was bad tonight. Not the best game from Chris Jones at all. But I know him as a leader of this team. He'll definitely take on the criticism of that and try to be better going into these next couple weeks. Um, I I just think, bro, I'm at a point where like you got to give them time to make the adjustments or whatever. And like I said, I think this is the best time for the bye week to be coming up. I'm glad the bye week is now instead of earlier in the season like it was last year because I do think that this gives them not only time to get healthy or whatever, but also be able to assess where they're at and what necessary things that they need to change, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, I just think it was honestly this is a bad game. Like especially early on. Like it's gonna happen. You know, like you can't think that you're going through this whole season without having a bad game offensively or whatever. But I do know that this offense is miles ahead of where this offense was last year for sure. There were a lot of questions at this point going into last year. So they need to get healthy. They definitely need Josh Simmons. Definitely needs to come back at some point in time. But I'm on the side of take care of what you need to take care of before you get back on the field because I want him to be mentally locked in 100% before you come back or whatever. And if you're not that, then there's no point of putting him back out there if he's not mentally locked in. Or whatever, you know. So we'll see where they go from here. But I already know the fan base is going to do this, but the sky's not falling. I'm sorry, you know.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. And like, just to touch on this, man, like as far as the offense go, I mean, even though I was frustrated for some parts of it today, I do like how Rasheed Rice is kind of getting used in the Debo Samuel role now. Like you saw that he was getting used out the backfield. He took
yeah,
a just with himself. Because I was wondering why his rushing prop was 3.5 yards. I wonder why that popped up. I was like, are they gonna use Rasheed in the Debo role some today?
yeah,
And they
yeah.
did.
Yeah, and I like that feature of the offense. I like what they were able to do with Rasheed today at points in times.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I think there were points where today they definitely got behind the sticks a little bit too much.
Yep.
And I've been saying that I don't care how good your offensive line is, you can't operate like that when you're playing in third and long and
Mm-hmm.
second and long and things of that nature. You have to stay on schedule, on script, and that's why I think you've seen previous weeks before this offense was a lot better just because they were doing those things. They were staying on script. They were staying ahead of the chain. So if they can get back to that, I think that they'll be fine moving forward. But they gotta be able to get back to that, man. And they just didn't do a good job of that today. It is what it is. You're gonna have bad games.
Yeah, and you mentioned the third down discrepancy. The Bills they clearly won that by a good
Yeah,
margin. We was only 3 of 13, and a
yeah,
big part is because we was on third and long way too much.
yeah.
and it
Yeah,
made it easy for the Bills defense. Because like shout out to Cole Bishop, man. Cole Bishop was all over the field, dog. He deserved a game ball for them, man.
yeah.
He made some
And
plays here.
I think some of the Bills players, especially on that defensive side, heard some of the talking this week, about the injuries and how, they weren't going to be able to play well and things that, especially some of the stuff that probably came from the media, or their own fan base, because I did hear some Bills fans talking badly about Cole Bishop at a certain point
Yeah,
in time. So they hear
yeah,
those kind of things and they come in motivated or whatever. I said it in my space too, man. Like McDermott is one of the better defensive minds in this league. And he's seen you time and time again. So to not have those guys ready was a disservice to them, or whatever. So I think he had his guys ready, and of course they were at home. They feed off their home crowd or whatever, and they played well. You just have to tip your hat to your opponent sometimes and move on. You can't win games when you don't convert third downs. You can't win games when you don't consistently run the ball, and you can't win games when you lose the turnover battle. And you did all three of those things today. And you lose. You take a L and you go home with it. But what's the great part about all of that? It's all fixable. It
yeah.
is all fixable. At the end of the day, it's all fixable. You need to execute better on third downs. You need to take care of the ball, which relatively the Chiefs have been doing a lot better job this year at taking care of the ball. They've been what? They were like +4 or 5 in turnover differential this year, So they've done a good job of being able to take care of the ball or whatever. You got away with it last week on Monday night or whatever, um, technically to a bad team at that point, but you can't do that against good teams. So got to be better at that. Hopefully they can do that
Simple,
going down the stretch, man.
simple as that. I want to talk about when we was down 14-10 and we went for it on 4th and 3.
Mhm.
The previous play before that, Patrick he lofted it over Rashid, thinking no defender was going to get over there, but Cole Bishop ran it down and could have got a pick six out of that. Luckily, that didn't happen. But on
Yeah.
that 4th and 3, I noticed like majority of the time when the Bills called a timeout on defense, they knew what they was doing. They knew what we were doing right
Mhm.
afterwards. And this was one of those cases on 4th and 3. We got Rashid in the rhythm. He's looking unstoppable out there. But the Bills was like, look, all right, we got to lock this down. We can't keep letting this happen. And they was clearly on Rashid. They had him locked down because,
Mhm.
like, on that play, you could have either went to Trav or you could have went to Xavier Worthy.
Mhm.
So, I mean, what did you think about that?
My initial thought process, because they took a timeout right before that
Yep.
play
Mm-hmm.
happened. I think initially the play would have worked had they not taken that timeout, because the Bills are having a hard time
Hard
for
time to
some
communicate.
reason, communicating and getting the plays in like they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I was kind of screaming at the TV, because I thought at those points in time, Pat and them should have went with quick snaps or whatever and just got the ball off and kind of let Pat just play backyard football at that point, and let him make the decision. But of course, they called the timeout. They got adjusted. I think that point is from the coaching staff. Andy Reid and Nagy have to come up. You got to go to the line with two plays essentially, and know that hey, if this first read, this first option's not open, we got to have something else. Now, personally, I thought they should have done a lot better job in getting Bashard Smith out open in the flat. I think using his speed would have helped a lot more on that, and that's where initially I thought they were going to go, because they kind of motioned Bashard over. I think right before the play, and I thought they were going to kind of run a pick route or something like that to kind of get Bashard open in the flat. I don't mind them trying to trust Rasheed on those downs or whatever, because he's proven, obviously later on in the game he converted 4th and 17 for you. So you sometimes you run those plays and it just didn't work. It is what it is. Bills were ready for it. They read it, and they got you off the field. So but yeah, I do think that after the timeout, I think it was a mistake to try to stick with the same kind of formation and play at that point. I think you got to go to the line with two calls.
Yeah. And then what's it? I want to talk about another scenario. Because you make great points with that. I mean, sometimes when things are working, you keep going to it till they can stop it, and they just stopped it. So
Mhm.
I guess I'll be a little bit more lenient on that situation. But I want to talk about like right before the end of the half because we had a big play with Hollywood Brown and he got down like close to the 1 yard line, whatever. Here's the thing that irks me about the Chiefs offense, as good as it has been. They keep falling in love and running shotgun inside of the 5 yard line. They keep wanting to give a defense an advantage for whatever reason. Like I just do not get it, bro. Like this new age football just get on my nerves sometimes. I'm like, dude, you got one timeout. You could have went in the center and handed the ball to Cream. If y'all didn't get it, okay, call a timeout. Do something else under center. It's just that's just one of the things that just annoys me with this offense. I keep having to repeat myself, but it's just frustrating. And I felt like we needed 7 come out the half, and it came back to bite us a little
Yeah.
bit at the end.
Yeah, I was on the side of you at that point. You just needed points, whether it was 3 or 7. You just needed to be able to make it a one possession game at that point. But if you can't get to the 1 yard line, and I'm with you, bro. I hate the shotgun replays and stuff like the draw game for this team. To me, they don't execute
Irritating.
it. Yeah, they don't execute it very well. And I don't understand why. I know it's Andy Reid's system, but I don't understand why they keep going to it at points in time. It makes no sense, especially at the goal line. Like if you're gonna run, like we've been saying, if you're gonna run the ball, just get underneath center and run the ball. You seen when they did what they converted 4th and 1 again. I think when they went, they were still down 2 scores and they went it was 28-21.
Yeah,
When Kareem scored, they
yeah.
converted that. Where did they go?
I
Underneath center.
said y'all could have did that right before halftime.
Just go underneath center, man, and just run the ball. If you're going to run the ball, just run the ball because and when you're in shotgun and you're doing a draw play, you're already starting back 3 or 4 yards in the backfield. You're already giving the defense an advantage of being able to get a push, now because now we got to get the snap, hand the ball off, and now try to find the hole instead of getting underneath center, handing it off, and just getting forward. So hopefully Andy Reid and them make that adjustment at the goal line. And listen, man, we're just a better team when we get underneath center and just maul the defensive line at the goal line and just do it. I know a lot of people were saying that Andy they probably should have ran the QB sneak. That's never gonna happen. I
Right.
hope the fan base please get that out of your mind. That's never the QB sneak is not even a play that exists in this system anymore. Um, but scratch that a good bet. Okay,
We ain't got that no more, man. We ain't got no Marcus Allen
even
or Priest holes, man.
even if even if that's the case, when you run out of shotgun, right? When you're in shotgun, you're already 3-4 yards in the backfield. So you're it's a longer developing play than you going underneath center and just handing the ball off. You've seen once they did that, they were able to run the ball a lot better, and they've been this year, they've been a lot better running team when they just decide to get underneath center and run the ball.
The proof's
You
in the
know,
pudding.
it's right there, bro. I'm not saying that you got to completely mix the shotgun draw game or whatever, but there are points in times where like, bro, if you're gonna do this, just be decisive and just run it. It doesn't have to look pretty or anything like that, but just go ahead and line up and do what works best for you. You got 3 guys in your interior and Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, and Kingsley Suamataia who are all road graders, bro. You know, just get behind them and let Kareem Hunt. How successful have we been on short yardage downs this year? Because we just get up to the line, hand it off to Kareem, and let him do his job.
It's
And
more effective than a tush push.
right. He's good at getting skinny and finding a hole and getting through there. You know, so just be decisive about it. I think that's another adjustment going into this bye week that they're gonna have to sit here now and make the hey, look at the percentages of when we just line up and we just run the ball, guys. You know,
Yep, simple as that. But yeah, man, Demonte, to your point, man, you know what I'm saying? Like we've been facing the Bills for a long time. I mean, it's not surprising. Like Sean McDermott came from the Andy Reid tree. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, I mean, and it's not just the Bills that have used the variation in our offense. Like, there's other teams that use variation in our offense. You know what I'm saying? So, like, not really surprised by that.
yeah, yeah. I'm not shocked about it at all. The McDermott, like I said, you know, McDermott is one of the better football minds in this game. Um, and honestly, bro, like I think the Bills honestly know what this game means for them for their season, you know, as well as it means for our season or whatever. But we all know, bro, just let the Chiefs get in. If they get into the tournament, man, there's no team in this league in a playoff elimination scenario that's gonna sit over there and say like, yeah, we want the Chiefs. You know, bring them on. You know, everybody knows you get into that one single elimination tournament. You know, we gotta really play our best game because if we don't, Chiefs will definitely beat us. And definitely will be moving on. They got the experience and they've been there before. So
Yeah, and then like just like late in the game, man, it's tough. Like Jawan Taylor getting hurt, you know what I'm saying?
mhm.
Hopefully everything is straight. Good thing it's a bye week, man, because we were getting dinged up out there, man.
Yeah.
Kingsley went out for a little bit. He can't make it a game.
Mhm.
Thank God. Let's talk about Jalen Moore, man.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's not doing a good job. He's still doing a good job, but the film has picked up,
Yeah.
and teams are kind of picking up on his possible weaknesses because you saw
Mhm.
Joey Bosa. He got underneath them, did a little swim move, and got a sack on Pat. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Just
Yeah.
little things like that. And
Mhm.
go see your point about Josh Simmons. Hopefully, with this bye week coming up, we have 2 weeks to see where his head is at, and hopefully he'll be back afterwards.
Yeah.
But I mean, what do you think about the offensive line play overall today?
Hmm, I think from a tackle perspective, it could have been a lot better. Um, Obviously, Jalen Moore, I think has played admirably, you know. But I mean, ultimately, we know what Jalen Moore is. To me, in my opinion, he's above average starter. You know, some games, you know, he's gonna play well, and some games, you know, he's probably gonna get his ass whooped. Uh, You know, I think today Joey Bosa, we know how good Joey Bosa can be. Or we've seen him several times before, especially when he's healthy. I think this is one time where he's been fully healthy for a majority
Been
of
a
the
very
year.
long time since we've
Yeah,
seen that.
you know. But I think the biggest thing Jalen Moore struggles with right now is that bull rush to his chest, and
Mhm.
not being able to anchor down early enough or whatever. So I think the Chiefs could afford to maybe send a little bit more chip help to his side if this is how they're going to continue to go moving forward. But you know, it's obvious that they need Josh Simmons back. That's why we've seen this is why you went out and drafted Josh Simmons, you know, because you know how good that kid potentially is for you, and you know how important he is for this offensive line now. So that's why I think that I fully expect them to get him back after the bye, and I think that you know even if he doesn't start for that Broncos game, I think eventually they get him ramped back up to where he is playing back at a high level. And, you know, right. Oh, Jawan today to me, I don't think Jawan played bad. He had the one penalty. Um, that you know, legal formation. I didn't even get to see if he was lined up correctly or anything like that. They didn't show that. But
Yeah, me either.
Jawan has been one of the better tackles in this league for about a good 4 or 5 week span. You know, well, just think that you know, ultimately, bro, like you're due for a bad game at some points in time. Like this league is too good, you know, for you not to have at least one bad game, you know, or whatever. But I don't think Jawan played bad. Um, I do think there were times where Pat held on to the ball a little bit too much today. I think that you have to be a little bit more decisive in your reads. I would like for the Chiefs to make this adjustment too, coming out of the bye. Get to your quick passing game a lot earlier. Get Pat more in a rhythm a lot earlier in games. I think they play a lot better when Pat is able to be a lot more decisive in games a lot earlier. That once they got down, then you start going to all these long developing routes and things like that or whatever. Especially that's hard to do when you get on the road or whatever, and the defense can pin their ears back and kind of come after you. So um, I just think they didn't do that enough today. And then you didn't run the ball and stay ahead of the chains enough today. So bad game, man, bad game.
Yeah, like cause somebody else asked this, Steezy. They was talking about why does Leo not have why is Leo not in a position where he's covering the tight ends more? I think they Spags is just using him more to be like stop the run or be like sideline to sideline.
He's
He
got
doesn't.
him playing that Sam linebacker spot
Yeah,
a lot more than
yeah.
than and honestly Leo has been probably one of the better guys at that position or whatever. He's so versatile where you can put him on. I don't know how if y'all seen how many times Leo has been on the line as an edge rusher or
Mm-hmm.
a part of this defensive line. But yeah, I mean ultimately I I would like to see a different game plan against the tight ends. I think the solution is there, and I think you got him on your sideline, and you're just not using him, and that's Jaden Hicks, in my opinion. I think they need to go more three safeties on the field, especially on passing downs, and just allow Jaden Hicks to play that star role for you. You know, I mean, I don't know what Spags' fascination right now is with how he's rotating the safeties or whatever. But I just think you can't allow for one of your better cover safeties to sit over there on the sideline and watch you get cooked. So hopefully Spags makes that adjustment during the bye week. I think he will, but we'll see. I know he still has a lot of faith and trust in Drew and them, but I think at this point, Father Time is playing against you, and Drew just can't do what he used to be able to do for you. And we know how limited Nick Bolton was in pass coverage, but you're not taking Nick off the field. Nick does too much for you as far as getting guys lined up and help stopping the run. That's one of the run reasons you're able to even stop the run because Nick Bolton is out there making plays for you. You know,
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. We was talking about earlier in the show, like
yeah,
that
should
should be one of the adjustments at halftime,
mhm.
or the adjustments earlier. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Have Hicks out there when Drew was getting barbecued out there.
yeah. You were able to get away with it last week because you had Zach Ertz, who's 100 years old or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And you know he's not going to damage you that much. These younger tight ends, Laporta, Kincaid, guys of that nature, you're going to have to put your better cover safeties on those guys and live with the results.
Yeah, and then I want to go back to this comment right here because speaking of screen passes, dog, like right before Patrick threw the interception on third down, whatever, dog. Rashard Smith had all kinds of green grass in front of him. If
Yeah,
him and Trey do not run into each other,
to
dog, I
each
think
other.
Rashard would have got 30 some yards out of that screen pass,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
Oh,
Just
that was frustrating.
that's why I said it's frustrating. It sometimes, bro, you play bad. You played bad today. It is what it is. Is when you go back and you watch this film or whatever, you're just gonna realize there were just missed opportunities there. So if they execute and hit on some of those plays, maybe things are different. But it is what it is, bro. You lost. You got to move on. You got to grill it up, learn from it, and move on to the next game. It's not gonna get any easier.
It's sure ain't, man, because the way this division, the entire AFC picture is looking, man. I mean, we talk about the AFC West. You know what I'm saying? Broncos and Chargers, they won their games today. So we behind the 8 ball even more in that division. And
Mm-hmm.
then, like, with Jacksonville winning their game today against the Faders,
Mm-hmm.
that put us back out of the playoff picture. So the error, I mean, the room for error is small. Like, the margin got a little slimmer now.
Slim,
So,
slim pickings.
so yeah.
Um, you know, that's why I said, you gotta. That's why I think coming out of this bye, you'll see a lot different team. Just because
Mm.
they know the position that they're in. If we know it, you don't think they don't? Like you don't think they're in that locker room thinking like, hey guys, 5-4, we ain't got too many more games we can drop at this point. So we got to play our best ball heading down the stretch. But I always said it. Would you rather this team right now be what 9-0, you know, or would you rather them be where they're at now and have a shot and the opportunity to play their best ball heading into November and December, you know? And that's why I said the sky's not falling, guys. Like you got November, December, and headed into January, and if you start playing your best ball in these next couple of months, where that will take you. It is not about how you start; it's solely about how you're going to finish this season. You know, and they know that, man. They definitely know that. Yes, Greedy is definitely crashing out right now. It's okay.
I think this is the greedy from when I worked at the post office, man. Shout out to him, man.
Yeah,
but but yeah, man. At the end of the day, bro, like you said, man, like this is just another challenge the Chiefs gonna have to knock off. And it's
yeah,
not like we had knocked off a bunch of challenges before.
yeah,
Like I said, this is a good time to have a bye week to get things
yeah,
right because typically after the bye week, we get it right. We get it
yeah.
rolling
This is the
afterwards.
beauty. This is the beauty of sports, bro. Like we've seen the bro. You just saw what was it last night? The Los Angeles Dodgers and everything they went through those months of what I think it was July into September or whatever. A lot of people expected them to be the top seed, win it all. Da, da, da. They ended up being the 3 seed or whatever, and took out the top 2 seeds on that side of the bracket or whatever. Still won the World Series. Still went back to back. You've seen the Chiefs do this before, bro. You've seen them finish 14-3, win the Super Bowl, come back next year and go 11-6, and still win the Super Bowl. You've seen them last year not have a left tackle and get to New Orleans for a shot to three-peat, bro. So to sit here and say to sit here and feel like the sky is falling. Yes, I understand. I don't like losing to Buffalo like the rest of y'all, or whatever. But I would pray and hope that y'all at least give this team some time to figure things out. Now they have a week off or whatever, and now you go into a divisional game, which is against an opponent that you know very well or whatever, with things on the line. And now you're playing with house money. You know? Now everybody's gonna go back to doubting you. Everybody's gonna start saying, "Oh, we don't think the Chiefs is as serious as they." Watch the media narrative change this
Yeah,
week.
man.
Because just 2 weeks ago, the Chiefs was one of the best teams in the league. Now all of a sudden, tomorrow it's gonna be doomsday for the national media. Buffalo is gonna be hyped up to, oh, they're back to being legitimate contenders and da 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 da.
Josh Allen might be back-to-back MVP. Yeah,
Exactly, bro. Like we all know, man. We all know how this is gonna go. You know? No, they
yeah.
don't. No, no, they don't.
I already had my thoughts on that.
No,
I
they
see.
don't. And I'm not saying that Matt Nagy is a better play caller or anything like that. But no, you oh, how do y'all watch those games before all of this or whatever? And now today, everything changes. Now Nagy has to go. Now this like, bro, we know what they're capable of.
Oh man, that's funny. Hey man, yeah, I'm not even gonna pay attention to what's going on in the media tomorrow, man. I'll randomly see clips on the timeline or something. If I want to listen to it, I'll choose to listen to it. But it don't mean nothing because we done seen it before.
It goes in one ear and
So
out the other. They said for years upon years, we counted Tom Brady and them out. And I hate to keep comparing this all to the Patriots or whatever, because that's a different. Of course, honestly, that's a different team, and or whatever, different scenarios and things of that nature. But we've seen this in sports before, bro. We've seen teams struggle and have their eras and things like that, and still be great. Dog, you have the best quarterback in the league on your team. You know, you don't think he's going into this knowing that, hey, we know where we're at, we know what we got to do, and we know what we're capable of. You know, so if he's thinking that, I'm damn for sure know the rest of the team is pretty confident in thinking that as well too. Y'all might, as fans, y'all might not be as confident. So be it. But I'm telling you, if you're on that side right now of crashing out, stay on that side, please. Please stay on that. I don't want to see this. You were crashing out before, and then all of a sudden you hop back to the side or whatever when things start going great again. You know, that's her.
Yeah, that comment's nuts. I never
Yeah,
heard of that before. Ladainian Marshall Falk. Yeah, that's wild. But yeah, man, like I mean, there's nothing wrong with comparing, TB12 to Patrick Mahomes right now because TB12 was the greatest of his era, and he's in the conversation for greatest QB ever. Patrick Mahomes, he's the greatest quarterback of this current era right now, and the proof's in the pudding that he's the most clutch. I mean, not. I mean, the most clutch or like the greatest playoff quarterback of this current era. You know what I'm saying?
bro.
So I mean, it's kind of warranted. You
I,
know.
I, yeah, that's like even watching that game today, bro. You,
Yeah, I
ask
mean,
yourself,
yeah, I was about to say this. Tom Brady has had bad games before too.
right?
So
Ask yourself this question: down two possessions, down 15 points.
mhm.
A lot of y'all probably would have said, "Okay, yeah, yeah, you think the game is over, right?" Don't sit here and lie and say in the back of your mind you thought, man, we could really come back. Like if there's one team that can really do this, it's definitely the Chiefs. It's definitely Mahomes. Or whatever. We've seen it
Yeah, and
before.
let's be
You
real. Let's be real. The next to last play of the game today, Patrick got that ball to the Taekwon.
Yeah,
He gave
yeah.
Taekwon a chance at the end there,
You had a
but Cole
shot.
Cole Bishop
Yeah.
once again made a great play.
Sometimes the ball doesn't bounce your way, man. It just is what it is. Sometimes it'll go different. We don't know. Whatever. But you had a chance there at the end to try to tie it up and try to get the game to overtime. You know, it didn't happen. So now I honestly I'd rather the Chiefs have their backs up against the wall. I think they play a lot better ball when their backs are up against the wall. And now they know for sure their backs are against the wall. There's little room for error. Now I think not only do you get a more pissed off team, now you get a more desperate team. Just the same way they came out 0-2 or whatever, and they knew if we lose and we go down 0-3, this season be over. Uh-huh. You know, but you seen them battle back from that, and I think you see them battle back from this, man. It is what it is, bro. But I think that they're in. I hate to say this, and I know it probably sounds a little bit too positive, bro. But I actually think they're in a lot better spot right now than a lot of people would say at this point. You know, I maybe I have to be the optimistic fan in this, but 5-4 heading into the bye week. You're yes, technically today, if the playoffs started today, yes, you're out of it. You know, but there's still a lot of season left to be played, and trust me, I know in that locker room they know that as well too.
Yep. And then, like, just want to credit the Bills defense even more, for this one because I mean they did that thing. So according to next gen stats, they pressure Patrick Mahomes on 52.6% of his dropbacks, 14.3% higher than they pressure rate in any of the other 9 matchups against the Chiefs since 2020.
Mhm.
Mahomes completed just 3 passes out of 16 for 61 yards and a pick when he was pressured today. So I mean, it was a rare bad performance for Patrick Mahomes today. I mean, and a lot of credit you got to give it to the Buffalo's defense.
Yeah, Yeah, they played well. They were ready. I didn't expect anything less from them. I didn't expect Buffalo to come out and lay down. I heard somebody say in the space like we overlooked it. Like how do you, there's no way the Chiefs went into this game overlooking an opponent, especially going into a bye week. You know, like I don't think that was the case at all. I just think at this point, bro, damn the Seahawks are whooping the command. Um, I just think
Yeah,
at
they
this
they
point,
they getting BTA right now.
right, I think you went to Niagara Falls and you had a bad game, bro. And I think there's a lot of things that you can fix coming out of this or whatever. And I think that they're in a good position to fix those things right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, they
And yeah,
can't lose.
see,
They can't lose next week, Marshall, because they don't play.
yeah, I was about to say, we got a bye with Marshall, but anyway, Teal Comment 19-4, like, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a big game against Denver coming out
Yeah,
the bye.
yeah,
We definitely got to have that one for sure.
yeah. And I think they'll be ready. We all know how good Andy Reid and them is coming off the bye. Of course, they've had their slumps at points in times where they've lost coming out of the bye, but relatively, history says that Andy Reid and them are pretty good assessing themselves and coming out and getting the dub after the bye week. I think this is a great time for, like I said, for them to get healthy and go into this game ready to play. Who the Broncos have next week? Do they play or are they on a bye week too?
That is a great question. I can pull it up real quick.
Who do they play? They play the Raiders on
They play
Thursday
the
night, so
Faders on Thursday night.
they're on a short week or whatever. So technically they'll have some time to prepare for you. They'll have a mini bye coming into that game as well, too. But you almost have 2 weeks essentially off to get ready and get prepared to go to Denver. And we don't know where PS2 injury designation is going to be at that point in time. So if they have to play with him, all the better for us. You know, hopefully Josh Simmons is back. Um, hopefully I'm not sure if he plays in that game or whatever, but I would hope that he would because we know how good that Broncos uh pass rush is at this point. So we'll just have to be ready, man. It's a tough environment, but it's no better team that I'd rather see go into this situation 5-4 on the road in a tough must win it game. You know, I like my
Yep,
chances.
yep. And then our other AFC West contender, the Chargers, they playing the Steelers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, but another team that's dealing with injuries as well too. Joe Alt just went down again for them for the second time this year. They don't have Rashawn Slater, so who knows what the Chargers are going to look like coming into the late November or December as well either. He was all injured. Jawan went down. I know. I think of course, I think he could have actually came back in because he was standing on the sideline. Um, they didn't take him to like the locker room or anything like that. I think they just kind of held him out of the game just because I think they kind of knew where this game was gonna end up being. It's no point of risking him to go back out there and something even worse happened. Um, Kelsey came back and played. He was fine. I'm trying to think.
I
Did
mean,
anybody else?
look, Kelsey a tough guy, man. He a tough guy, man. Like he got right. It didn't
Mhm.
really phase him.
Scared of what? Scared of who? He played bad, bro. He.
Shit, Mahomes looks scared.
I just be running like, wait, what games do y'all be watching, bro? You know, like, I don't think he was afraid of this team at all. I just think solely they just had a bad game, bro. You can call that for what it is. You're like y'all can say that. It's okay to say that. You've seen Mahomes have bad games before. It's not out of the realm.
Yeah, that was
Probably,
wild. So look
probably
scared. I mean,
so.
look, the Bills just came with it today, man. It's simple as that. They just came with it today, bro.
It's funny because
Hey,
the
hopefully we see.
distraction of The trolls are never found when we win, bro. Only when we lose. So,
Exactly. They always
kind of
quiet
like
when we win.
Woodward. Mhm.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, man. Before I get to the sponsor, real quick, I mean, DG, did you have anything else on this game in particular?
Um. Okay, never mind. I'm ignoring the comments. Anyway, I don't have anything else on this
I don't
game.
think we hit a lot, but it's whatever.
Right. I don't have anything else on this game. I'm at a point where, like I said, I'm gonna grill it up, eat it, and move on. Uh, we got the bye week coming up. I'm more interested in seeing where Brett Beach goes as far as this trade deadline because I do think there are going to be some moves that are going to happen. Um, any positive? That's the positives for me, Scratch. I think that this inclines them more to be a lot more aggressive at the trade deadline to kind of get some help in here, especially on that defensive end, defensive line position. So we'll see who they actually end up going to get. I know a lot of people are in on the Jalen Phillips market and things of that nature. But I do think that they'll make a move for somebody. Draymond Jones, whether that's Malik Collins, trying to think of who else is around. Carl Granderson for the Saints. Any of those guys coming in and potentially being able to help, I think could help this team out at this point in time. I don't expect them to make a move for a running back. I just think that market is a little bit too pricey or whatever. If they do, don't be surprised if it's a name that you're not too familiar with or whatever, you know. But we'll see how it goes, man. At this, I think this is a good time for them to assess their damages and to go on from where they are. Bernard, I don't know who your team is, bro, but I highly doubt that your team is even that good at this point in time.
Look,
There's no way you're
I,
in here to troll us after a loss like this, especially.
I
Like
hope that's not
you
BJ
go,
the Saints fan. I hope that's
mm,
not BJ the Saints fan. It's Bernard Jackson. I hope it's not him.
Tony Pollard wouldn't be a bad option. In my opinion, I don't think Tennessee is gonna want to sell him off or whatever. But we'll see. I mean, I would take him as well too. Tajay Spears is somebody else that I would take in this backfield if they're gonna look at a running back position or there. I just think that the running back spot, I think we're fine. You know, I think you get Pop back. I think that they were establishing the roles and how they wanted to establish them. Kareem is your short yardage back. Pop is your workhorse, and Bashard is your elusive and pass catching back. Change of pace back that you would like to have back there. So I think as long as they stick with that, they could be fine. I wouldn't mind them adding a guy, but I think that they don't need to go out and necessarily shoot for the stars to try to get a guy in here like that. But defensive end is definitely, I think, a spot where they need to really assess and try to go get a guy
Yeah. I mean, the guy they just added is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, you see he got a few touches today.
in.
I
Yeah,
mean, that show running back ad right there.
right.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
the line of but that, and that's KT. That's the thing. The line will get a lot healthier, bro. You're not healthy on the line right now. You're missing your guy who Simmons. We all seen was playing at a Pro Bowl level.
So all
How
pro
well he was
level, so I
about
go
him.
that far.
Right. Um. I don't know if Elijah Mitchell is terrible. I think I really think they should have probably cut him in training camp.
Yeah,
And
they
I don't
definitely
know
should have.
why he made this roster or whatever if they weren't going to potentially use him. Or I think Clyde was brought up more so today just because he knows the system a lot better. I think he knows the third down system a lot better. If anything were to happen to Kareem, then obviously you'd have to put at least a veteran in because you can't go into the game with Rashard Smith being your only back and not
Right.
knowing, how to navigate pass protection or anything like that. So I think that's
Hmm.
why Clyde was ultimately brought up this week or whatever.
Yeah. Oh man. Anyhow, man, I'm gonna get to the sponsor. Man.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've seen all kinds of stuff now. All
Bernard, I
right.
want you to come. I hope you're back when we start winning. I hope you come back, bro.
Right. So yeah, Boost Over is over with. It is November now. But that doesn't mean you still can't sign up for Underdog Fantasy if you haven't already. Use that promo code KingdomCast, all in one word to sign up. You bet $5, get up to $50 of bonus credits when you do. So again, you can download it on Google Play, Apple Store, and once again, if you want to try that, download the app, use that promo code KingdomCast, all in one word to sign up. Hope y'all took advantage of Boost Over though. When y'all some cash.
Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure.
So yeah, man. Anything else you want to touch on before we get up out of here, bro?
Nah, man, the sky's not falling. Um, I think it's fine to be upset about a loss or whatever. I don't blame fans for being upset, but I'm not gonna sit here and play woe is me. Especially when this team still has plenty of games left to play and a lot left in front of them. So, you know, just gonna give them time to make the necessary adjustments. Uh, would be funny as hell. Yeah, I'm gonna give this team the time and chance to make the necessary adjustments, man. I'm definitely looking forward to the trade deadline on Tuesday and seeing how that goes and how that breaks down, seeing how aggressive Brave Beach and them are going to be at that point. But I do expect adjustments to be made, and I think they'll happen. I think that they'll make them, and we'll see. Hopefully, see this team go on a run, man, that we will all remember for a very long time.
Absolutely. So yeah, we got some things coming up over here. Be on the lookout, man, because we may
Lord,
pop Arrowhead Chief podcast during the bye week,
geez.
talk some things, chop it up with our cousin, our podcast cousin Chris Styles. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, Seattle, they not playing around.
The Commanders are getting belt right now.
Like, is that dog?
Bro, Sam Darnold has 4
Dog,
touchdowns
is that four
before
touch?
half.
Yeah, I was just about to say that's 4 TDs for Sam Darnold already.
Yes, bro. And
Man,
just threw a 60-yard bomb. Yo,
nuts,
Commander
nuts.
season is over, dog.
But
Now see that
man,
you
I want to
could
thank
be
everybody for tuning in tonight,
Steve,
man. Shout
you
out to
could
those
be
who pulled
there.
up.
You could be a Mander fan.
Yeah, shout out to the Command Skins. But yeah, man, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share on social media platforms. Again, you watching this on Twitter, please hit the retweet like button, share to everybody that you know. Till the next one, we out, Cheeks Kingdom.
Peace.